All right, everyone, get ready because today we're going deep on generative AI.
Sounds exciting.
It is. It is. It's this topic that seems like it's just everywhere these days.
Yeah, for sure.
And you guys have sent in this blog post that really digs into a lot of the details.
Yeah.
So we're here to kind of like pull out the good stuff, the
Yeah.
things that we really need to be paying attention to
Right.
as this whole thing kind of unfolds.
Exactly.
So to kick things off, I think the first question that we have to ask
Right.
is, what exactly is this generative AI?
It's a good question. It's something that we hear a lot. I think at its core, it's a type of artificial intelligence that creates.
Oh, okay.
So it's all about AI generating new content, whether that be
Well,
text, images, music, even code.
wow.
Think of it like this.
Okay.
Instead of just recognizing patterns like traditional AI,
Right.
like telling a cat from a dog in a photo,
Oh, got it, got it.
generative AI is actually producing something entirely new.
So it's not just looking at what's already out there, it's like actually creating.
Exactly. It's learning from massive data sets
Okay.
and then using that knowledge to actually create something new.
So it's kind of making stuff up based on
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
what it's seen.
It's learning from what it's seen
Okay.
and then applying that to create something original.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
The blog post we're looking at today mentions a couple of examples.
Oh, okay.
Like GPT 3.5 for text and DALL-E 2 for images.
Right.
And I gotta say, those have kind of blown my mind a little bit.
They are pretty mind-blowing. Those are really just two examples of what we call foundation models.
Foundation models.
Yeah, so essentially these models are trained on these massive data sets.
Okay.
Think mountains of text and
Yeah.
code and images.
Got it.
And that's really how they learn to create such a diverse array of outputs.
So they're kind of like the superstars of generative AI,
Yeah, you could say that.
the ones that have the most potential.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely the backbone upon which a lot of these applications are built.
Got it.
And what's really fascinating is that a single foundation model can be used for a ton of different things.
Oh, wow.
So, from writing poetry to generating code for a new app.
It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
AI tools.
I can do it all.
That's amazing. Now, this blog post also throws out a pretty staggering stat.
Okay.
It says that a Gartner poll found that 70% of organizations are at least exploring generative AI.
Wow.
What do you make of that?
I mean, it's a pretty clear signal
Yeah.
that businesses are seeing the potential.
Yeah.
They're seeing the potential here.
Right.
And I think, they might even be feeling a little bit of pressure to get on board.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the implications for businesses that are lagging behind, they could be significant.
Like a get on board or get left behind situation.
You could definitely put it that way.
Yeah.
The early adopters, those are the ones that are probably going to have an advantage in terms of efficiency and innovation
Makes sense.
and being able to adapt to what is a very rapidly changing landscape.
Right, right. So let's dive into some of the benefits that we're seeing with generative AI.
Yeah.
This blog post talks about quite a few. Two that I think are particularly interesting
Yeah.
are efficiency improvements and also personalization.
Yeah, those are definitely two big ones.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine a world where you have AI that can, help you draft emails,
Oh, that'd be nice.
that can summarize lengthy reports.
Yes, please.
That can help you cut to the chase or even tailor online shopping experiences to each customer's, unique preferences.
So it's almost like having a hyper-efficient personal assistant.
Exactly. Available 24/7.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing all that kind of tedious work for you.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So, and that's where I think a lot of the excitement is. It's in that potential to, streamline processes and free up human employees to really focus on more creative and strategic tasks.
It all sounds a bit like magic, to be honest.
It does. It does.
Can you kind of break down how this actually works?
Sure.
In a way that
In a way that makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
Okay, so imagine you're teaching a child to write.
Okay.
You're showing them examples of letters and words and sentences.
Right.
And over time, they start to learn the patterns and the rules of language.
Okay.
So generative AI works in a similar way.
Got it.
It learns from massive amounts of data,
Yeah.
identifying those underlying patterns and relationships.
So it's kind of like teaching a computer to understand the language
Yeah.
of whatever it is you're feeding it.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
So whether that's, the language of images or text or music,
Yeah.
it's learning those patterns. And
Yeah.
then once it's absorbed enough data,
Hmm.
it can use that knowledge to generate something new based on, a prompt or an instruction.
So kind of like if you give it a bunch of data on,
Right.
let's say, jet engine design,
Right.
it could help you design a new lighter engine bracket,
Exactly.
like the one GE created.
Yes, that's actually an example from the blog post.
That's right. That's right. I remember that now.
Yeah, and it's a great illustration
Yeah.
of how you can use generative AI to solve real-world problems
Okay.
and push the boundaries of what's possible.
Now, this blog post mentions a bunch of other benefits too.
It does.
Like automation,
Right.
improved decision making,
Yeah.
boosting productivity, even optimizing costs.
Mhm.
I mean, which of those do you think have the biggest potential impact?
That is a tough question.
It's a lot.
There's a lot there.
Yeah.
I mean, they all hold so much promise.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick, I think I would go with the ability to automate complex tasks
Okay.
and enhance decision-making.
Yeah.
I think those are really the ones that are the most transformative. Because, think about it. Automating things like data entry
Right.
or analysis,
Yeah.
that frees up human brain power
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
bigger picture thinking.
Yeah, it's like it takes care of all that grunt work and lets us humans focus on the more interesting stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. And then when it comes to that decision making, having AI
Mm.
that can just crunch these massive amounts of data
Right.
and spot patterns that we might miss,
Yeah.
even predict future outcomes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's powerful stuff.
It is. It is.
It's not about replacing human judgment,
Right.
but it's about giving us more informed insights to work with
Yeah, I like that.
to make better decisions.
More information is never a bad thing.
That's right.
This blog post is also really big on responsible AI implementation.
Yeah, and for good reason.
Which makes sense.
It's not just about what the technology can do.
Right.
It's about making sure that we're using it in the right way.
Yeah, ethically.
Ethically, exactly.
And one of the things they talk about is building what they call centers of excellence within organizations.
Right, and that's a crucial aspect of that responsible implementation.
Okay, so what are centers of excellence exactly?
So think of it as a central hub
Okay,
for all of the AI knowledge and expertise within a company.
got it.
So these centers would be responsible for things like, training employees
Oh, okay.
on how to use generative AI tools effectively.
Makes sense.
Maybe fine-tuning the AI models to meet specific needs,
Right.
and really just overall setting best practices for implementation.
So it's kind of like having this dedicated team of AI specialists.
Yeah,
Who
exactly.
are kind of guiding the company's AI journey.
Exactly. They're the ones that are going to make sure things stay on track.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
They also play a really key role in another strategy the blog mentions,
Okay.
which is democratizing ideas while limiting production.
Democratizing ideas while limiting production.
Yeah. Now, that sounds kind of interesting and maybe a little contradictory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. How do you do both of those things?
Yeah.
Right. Well, the idea is to encourage everyone in the company,
Okay.
not just the tech folks,
Right.
to brainstorm and experiment with generative AI.
Okay.
So, let people from different departments play around with it.
Oh, interesting.
See what cool ideas they come up with,
Yeah.
test out different use cases.
So it's kind of like a company-wide AI brainstorming session?
You could think of it that way.
Okay.
But the limiting production part means that not every single idea needs to be turned into a full-blown project.
Got it. Got it.
So you have this open environment for trying new things,
Yeah.
but then a more selective process for
Right.
deciding which ideas actually get scaled up.
Makes sense.
Right. And that's where those centers of excellence come in.
Right.
They're evaluating those ideas,
Yeah.
figuring out which ones are worth pursuing on a larger scale.
Right.
Okay, and the blog also brings up this thing called dynamic data.
Oh, yes. Dynamic data. This is a fascinating concept.
So what is that?
So think about it this way.
Okay.
As generative AI gets more sophisticated,
Yeah.
it's going to start creating its own WN data.
Whoa, hold on. So
Yeah.
AI making its own data
That's right.
to learn from.
This data is called synthetic data,
Okay.
and it's basically data that's generated by AI
Okay.
rather than being collected from the real world.
So it's like AI creating its own little world
You could say that.
of data
Yeah.
to learn from. That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is mind-blowing, and it has the potential to completely revolutionize how we train AI models
Wow.
and even how we make decisions.
I mean, I can see how that'd be incredibly
All
powerful,
right.
but also maybe a lot tricky to manage.
Absolutely. It means businesses are going to need to adapt how they handle data,
Yeah.
reevaluate their sources, and potentially even invest in new technologies
Right.
to be able to make sense of all this dynamic data.
Sounds like a whole new set of challenges and opportunities.
It really is.
One last thing that this blog post really emphasizes
Okay.
is the importance of getting business leaders involved in this whole AI journey.
Yeah, that's key.
Why is that so crucial?
Well, for one thing, leaders have the authority and the resources
Right.
to make AI adoption actually happen.
Okay.
But I think even more importantly, they need to be involved
Yeah.
to make sure that the AI is actually aligned with the company's overall strategy
Makes sense.
and goals.
So it's not just about the tech team playing with cool new toys.
Exactly. Exactly. It's about making sure that the AI is actually driving the business forward
Right.
in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
Generative AI should be seen as a tool to achieve those goals,
Right.
whether that's improving customer experiences,
Yeah.
streamlining operations, sparking innovation,
It's a means to an end.
Exactly.
Now, this blog post has some cool real-world examples of generative AI in action. It mentions the GE jet engine bracket again.
Yeah, a classic example.
Yeah.
It really highlights how you can use AI
Yeah.
to push the boundaries of what's possible in design and engineering.
What other examples really stood out to you?
There's one from the pharmaceutical industry that I think is pretty remarkable.
Okay.
In Silico Medicine, it's a biotech company,
Okay.
they're using generative AI to accelerate drug discovery.
Oh.
They actually identified a potential drug candidate for fibrosis in record time
Wow.
using AI-powered algorithms.
So using AI to literally develop new medicine.
That's right. That's right.
That's incredible. That could have a huge impact on healthcare.
Huge, and it really showcases the potential
Yeah.
of generative AI to help us solve some of humanity's biggest challenges.
I mean, are there any other industries where you're seeing generative AI making these kinds of waves?
The fashion industry is another one that I think is pretty
Okay.
interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so H&M has been experimenting with generative AI to design new clothing collections.
So AI is becoming a fashion designer.
In a way, yes.
That's wild.
I know, right? It's analyzing trends, customer preferences
Oh, got it.
to create designs that are, more likely to resonate with shoppers.
It's all about staying ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
What about more traditional sectors like finance?
Yeah, so finance is definitely being impacted as well.
Okay.
Capital One, for example,
Right.
they're using generative AI for a range of things.
Like what?
Fraud detection, customer service, even risk assessment.
So it's kind of like helping banks become more secure
Yeah, more efficient.
and efficient.
Exactly. By crunching through tons of financial data.
Yeah.
AI can spot patterns that might indicate fraudulent activity,
Okay.
tailor customer interactions,
Got it.
even assess credit risk more accurately.
So it's taking over all those tasks.
It's helping with all those tasks,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's really amazing to see how this technology is spreading across all these different fields.
It's incredible. And I think these examples
Yeah.
are really just the tip of the iceberg
Yeah.
as the technology keeps advancing.
Right.
We can expect to see even more creative and impactful applications.
Yeah. My brain is honestly buzzing a little bit just thinking about all the possibilities.
It's a lot to take in. It really is. But, even with all this talk
Yeah.
about specific applications in industries,
Mhm.
I think it's important to keep the bigger picture in mind.
Yeah, you're right. So let's take a step back
Okay.
and kind of recap what we've learned so far.
Right.
What are the key takeaways from all of this?
Well, I think we've established that generative AI is this powerful new type of AI
Right.
that can create all sorts of new content.
Yeah.
Text, images, music, you name it.
Yeah.
And it learns from these massive data sets,
Right.
which allow it to pick up on these complex patterns and relationships.
Okay.
And we've seen that it has the potential to do some pretty remarkable things.
For sure.
From boosting efficiency and helping us make better decisions
Yeah.
to even accelerating drug discovery and designing, cutting-edge products.
Yeah, and we've also touched on the importance of, using this technology responsibly,
Yeah.
creating those centers of excellence, and being mindful of the challenges
For sure.
that come with dynamic data.
Absolutely.
And we've seen some pretty inspiring examples
We have.
of how generative AI is already being used to solve real-world problems.
I think it's clear
Yeah.
that this technology is going to have a profound impact on our world in
Absolutely.
the years to come.
No doubt about it.
But before we wrap up, I have one final question for our listener.
No, okay. Hit us with it.
All right, so listener,
Yeah?
think about all the industries and aspects of your life that we've discussed today.
Okay.
Now ask yourself this.
Yeah.
What industry or aspect of your life do you think generative AI will disrupt the most in the next 5 years?
Ooh, that's a great question. It really gets you thinking.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, about the potential ripple effects
Yeah, the ripple effects of all this.
of all of this.
It's not just contained to one area.
Oh,
It's going to spread.
yeah. I know. I'm already starting to ponder my own answer.
I hope so, because the reality is
Yeah.
we're just at the beginning
Yeah.
of this generative AI revolution.
Right.
The possibilities are truly limitless.
Yeah.
And it's going to be incredibly exciting
Oh, for
to see how it all unfolds.
Absolutely. And to our listener, thank you for joining us
Yes.
on this deep dive into the world of generative AI.
We hope you found it insightful
And thought-provoking.
and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
You know, as we've been talking about all this stuff with generative AI,
Yeah.
one thing that I keep coming back to
Okay.
is just how fast it's all happening.
It really is incredible, isn't it?
It's like the pace of innovation
Yeah.
is unlike anything we've ever seen.
It's just remarkable.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's not just the technical stuff either, right?
No, not at all.
No, it's like it's changing how we think about being creative
And
and solving problems.
it's challenging us to rethink what's possible
Yeah.
and to push those boundaries of, human ingenuity.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
In the past, if you wanted to create a piece of art
Right?
or compose music,
Yeah.
you needed specialized skills.
Right. You had to go to school.
You had to train for years.
Yeah.
Now with these AI tools,
Yeah.
anyone can explore those creative sides.
It's like democratizing creativity.
It is. It's making it accessible
Yeah.
to everyone.
And it's not just art though, right?
No, not at all.
It's like we're seeing this in engineering,
Yeah.
medicine, finance.
The board.
Yeah, it's this tool that can augment what we can do as humans.
Exactly.
Help us think more creatively, solve problems faster.
And ultimately achieve more.
Yeah. And speaking of achieving more,
Yeah.
I think it's also creating all these new opportunities. For businesses and entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
it's not just about automating the jobs we have now.
Right.
It's like creating whole new industries and
Right.
ways of doing business.
Absolutely. We're seeing all these startups popping up,
Yeah.
leveraging generative AI
Right.
to develop these products and services that we couldn't have even imagined a few years ago.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. It's like a whole new frontier
Yeah.
of innovation.
It's exciting, but it's also kind of scary.
I understand.
It's
It's a lot.
It is.
It's natural to feel both excited and apprehensive
Yeah.
when you're faced with something like this.
It really is.
This technology that is so transformative.
But I think one thing that's important to remember is that it's just a tool.
It is, just like any other tool.
Right.
It can be used for good or for bad.
Exactly.
It's up to us to make sure
Yeah.
that we're using it in a way that benefits humanity.
And that's going to take some really thoughtful conversations
Absolutely.
about the implications of all this.
It's not just for the tech people to figure out.
No.
It needs to involve, ethicists and social scientists,
Everyone.
the general public.
Yeah, because this is going to affect all of us.
It is. We all need to have a voice
Yeah.
in shaping its future.
It's about finding that balance.
Yeah.
Where we can harness this power,
Right.
but do it safely. Is it there?
Absolutely. We need to safeguard our values.
Yeah. Yeah.
And make sure that it's being used for good.
Well said.
It's a journey, that's for sure.
It is.
And there are a lot of unknowns.
Yeah. But it's a journey worth taking.
It is.
And to our listener, thank you so much for joining us today
Yes, thank you.
on this deep dive into generative AI.
We hope you found it insightful
Thought-provoking.
and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
The future is waiting to be created, so
That's right.
keep exploring, keep asking questions,
Yeah.
and keep imagining what's possible.
That's what it's all about.
And that's a wrap on this episode of The Deep Dive.
Until next time.
Stay curious.